everybody, Danny Ward here. Thanks for joining us. This week I was teaching a few senior golfers and they were all looking for a bit of extra power in their game. Unfortunately, they cited the fact that they had a lack of flexibility and some injuries as to why they were unable to complete their turn in their backswing and therefore why they couldn't generate enough power. What we found by the end of the training was that, do you know what, they could complete much more of their backswing and therefore generate much more power. The problem is they had fallen into a very common misconception of how to turn. And what we're going to do in this week's training is we're going to show you what that misconception is and how it might be affecting your ability to turn and your ability to generate effortless power. So let me explain. Before we do though, if you're new to the channel and this is one of your first videos, consider subscribing. I release content like this every single week to help you improve your game. So what did we do and what were they doing? Very misconception. They knew that in order to generate power, they needed to turn, but they felt that because they were lacking flexibility, they were really struggling to make a full shoulder turn. And do you know what? They were, because they were going about it incorrectly. What they were doing is they were really trying to get the body turning around here and then around. But the problem is, we don't want to turn around. It's not a turn in golf, right? It's a misconception. The golf turn and the swing is more of a tilt and a turn. It's a combination of the two things working together. What we want to be able to do is we want to get the club working much more up here in a turn and a tilt. But most golfers are working too much around and around, and it has two major factors: huge loss of power and a major impact on strike and accuracy. Let me show you. If you hold the club up here, and granted, the club's here, yes, you can turn around and you can turn around, all that makes sense because your target is there. But in golf, our target is down there, right? So what we've got to do is remember that when we tilt, when we now turn now, well, now suddenly the club is working much more on an axis and working upwards. Now, if I straightened up now, it'd be down here and that'd be okay, that's me turning. But watch, I'm not, I'm down here. So we need to make sure the sensation that we're after in golf is less of a turn for most of you. It's likely going to be that you're going to start to work the club much more up and down towards the golf ball as opposed to around and around. Let me show you something. If I ask you to put your left hand here, okay, and I ask you to get in your golfing posture and slap your left hand, what would be the most efficient way for you to do that? Would you do this? It wouldn't make much sense, would it? It would be far more powerful just to go up, down, and that is what we want to simply create in the golf swing. Far more repeatable, far more accurate, and far more powerful. So how do you go about achieving it? So when you get the club up here, you've got to get the takeaway working correctly. Now I'm going to put an iCAD in the top left hand corner on exactly how you do that in detail. I'll cover it here, but so the basics here, but I'll put it in detail in this top left hand corner. What you want to try and do here is you want to get the club working, very important, straight back. So at this stage you'll notice there's no lever working here. This is one lever and the butt here is working very close to my leg and is working straight back. And in that top left hand corner was a drill that shows exactly how to do that. But that's what we're trying to do, straight back here. Most people use this club too early and they get the club working around. Partly because I think they're trying to make a turn, when actually we simply want to get the club working straight back and then up, all right? So, as you've got this club working back here, straight back here, then all we do is get the club working up and the club head up, including our arms. Now you might find even that you get here and your left arm starts to disconnect from the body a little bit. Not a problem. That is what we need to maybe complete the level of turn. Too many golfers are trying to stay too connected and they're working around here and it's just not possible. Look what happens when the club works nice and high here. Few things you've got. If the club goes high, you're now using gravitational forces for power. With that big heavy weight up there now, we can generate a force going straight back down into the ground. We're using the big lump of metal to fall to the golf ball. Very different to the people that are swinging around here. What are they going to do? If you swing around here, you've got to use all your brute force to get to the golf ball. Whereas if the club's up here, now we can use gravitational forces to let it fall down to the ground. So let's have a look at that in action. So if I swing around, I've got to force that. But if I allow the club simply to swing back here, let the club head go up here and let the gravitational fall down, it's going to be a lot easier for me to generate effortless power, because I've got this lump of metal forcing downwards. But look what else is happening. When you're swinging here, if the club is up here, isn't it going to be more accurate? If the club's coming more direct to the golf ball rather than around here? Because this is exactly what was happening to one of the guys. Stephen was finding he was slicing the ball a lot, hitting it very low with his driver, not really hitting any distance whatsoever, and the sound was pretty poor. And the reason being, he was coming around the corner, he would then loop around this way and simply slice across the golf ball. But we were able to then, when we got the club working more up here, he just simply worked direct to the golf ball here and was able to strike the ball so much straighter and so much sweeter because of it, because it's just so much more efficient. So that's the main benefit with this, and it's exactly what most of the top players are doing. So how do you go about doing it? So we've said, look, get the takeaway working here, then from this position simply just get the club working up here. Now once you've done that, you will feel a bit strange. It'll feel like, compared to what you've been doing before, certainly if you're a big turner, you'll feel like you're not turning at all. But have a look at my shoulders. When I do this, am I turning? Absolutely I am. Look at that motion there. Left shoulder's there, right shoulder's behind, not a problem at all. So there's more than enough turn. One thing, and one final thing to watch out for, some of the people when they were doing this, they got this bit working really well, but at that stage, at the business end here, right at the bottom, you've got to let this gravity now fall to the ground. If you don't let the gravity fall, then you wasted all the energy up there. If you're hanging on to the club too much, you get it here and you just turn across the golf ball, you slide across it, lose all your power. So once you've got the energy stored at the top, you then must let that energy go. So watch this. We're going to swing up, store the energy, let the energy fall down to the ground here. So up and fall down. When it falls down, we get a lovely flight and lovely power, and because of the direction it's coming in, it's so much straighter. It doesn't come with all that side spin. So let's have a look and summary at this. What do? We had senior golfers come over to us with struggling with power. They cited a lack of flexibility, some injuries as to why they were unable to make their turn, and therefore they were struggling with their power. We found that that's just not true for most of the people that were coming to see me. They were going about it incorrectly, and hopefully you might be doing this too and you can benefit. So they were going around here to make a turn. We don't want to go around, we've got to remember we want to go from here upwards. From there, we then come straight downwards. How do we do it? Check out this drill in the left-hand corner to get more detailed information on how to make the takeaway working correctly. It's really, really useful. Once you've got that bit working here, as opposed to around the corner, from there, you simply just get the sensation of the wrists just setting a little bit, hinging up as you go up here. Don't be frightened if you find that your left arm here or lead arm is coming off the chest a little bit here. You're going to need that to get the club up there. That's how you're going to store that energy. From there, you've got to trust the energy to fall down to the golf ball. Many golfers won't like that feeling initially because it feels a little bit out of control. When you let that club fall down, it feels, oh, is it going to strike the ball? Am I going to hit it straight? But you know what? Yes, you are. And I'll see if I can do this first take on camera. So I use this drill a lot. So let the club come up here. I want to allow the club to fall down. This is using now the energy of the golf club here back. That's not bad actually for the first one, but I've basically got this lump of metal and I've just thrown it down towards the ground, allowing gravitational forces to do that, and that's probably gone about 140 yards, and I am not massive. So I hope you enjoyed this training. If you do, and you know some of your friends who are struggling with a bit of power might benefit, please share it. Of course, it really, really helps. And if you're enjoying the training and you want to receive it in your inbox every single week, don't forget to press the subscribe button and the bell. But until next week, have a great golfing week.